Hello and welcome to the Lost Ski Area series. I am Avery Zucco, and today we're checking out Braddock Heights Ski Way in Braddock Heights, Maryland. The Braddock Heights Ski Ways was opened in the early 1960s. It is behind the historic Schley Inn, which was opened in 1903. So this little ski area is about an hour and a half outside Baltimore, Maryland. It's in the first sort of substantial range of hills you get to as you're moving west out of the city. The area has about 100 feet of vertical drop. It's very small. It was opened in the early 1960s with a Hall TBar, which we're already at the unload for the Hall TBar right here. At least I think it's a Hall TBar. I'm pretty sure. I think the install date may have been 1962, which is actually the same year as the Apple Hill Hall TBar. They look pretty similar. I haven't actually compared them side by side, but it definitely reminds me of the TBar from Apple Hill. So this is the return terminal for the TBar, and it's got the counterweight and tensioning system up top. So looking down from the unload for the TBar here, we've got one of the hookups for the snowmaking system. They did have snowmaking. They of course had to have it, although it was primitive. I say it's primitive, but it was actually a pretty substantial system. It was a pretty beefy system. I'll show you the pump house and everything later. The old split towers, and I'm pretty sure that's a hall hallmark, so to speak. So looking to our right is one of the trails. And then straight ahead is the other trail. And those are the two ways down from the top of the TBar. There's a beginner area in what is essentially the yard below the inn, which we'll see later. The area was fairly popular. A lot of people have memories and recollections of learning how to ski here. However, the area was really small, and new owners took over the inn in the 1970s and weren't so interested in running the ski area, and consequently it closed in the early 1980s. I don't have an exact date for when the ski area closed down, but it sometime between 1979 and like the early 1980s. What was also interesting is that their passes were shaped like apples. I don't know, maybe they had an agreement with Apple Hill. Maybe that was like the original multipass. Braddock Heights and Apple Hill. They were ahead of their time, but they were too far ahead of their time. So we're already at the bottom of the hill. It's like falling over. It must have been it's good for learning. and it was close to Baltimore and I guess close to Washington, D.C., so you sort of took what was offered. Not only that, but the owners of the inn, which weren't really terribly interested in running the ski area, so they shut it down. But even so, it must have been hard to keep interest in the area over the years. This is the drive for the TBar. Again, looks like the Hall Drive at Apple Hill. The tow line for the TBar is really overgrown. I can imagine coming back here in the summer, this would be really difficult to navigate through here. There's also an abandoned house up there. I don't think that was actually part of the ski area. It's just an abandoned house on the property. This is the yard below the inn, and this would have been the beginner area. They may have operated a rope tow here before they installed the TBar, but I'm not sure on that. There's a lot of things in this one I'm not sure about. Now this was the snowmaking system, or the pump system for the snowmaking, which I said earlier was pretty substantial for a small area. Now, most of the lost ski areas I get to, all of this stuff is gone, which is interesting. For such a small area, there's actually quite a lot left to look at. However, I'm not really sure how this was arranged and what it was for. This building has collapsed. I'm not sure what was here, part of the pump system or some valves or something for the snowmaking. There's a pipe that comes in that goes back over the dam, so this may have been part of the pump system. I can see the electrical hookups in here, but because this building is collapsed, it's kind of hard to make out what was what. And again, I'm not very mechanically inclined, so if you have experience with these kinds of things, leave that in the comments. I love to learn, what these different things were for. So this was the dam here. The pond is up on the other side, and this is where they ran the electrical in. The transformer is up on top of that pole you saw earlier. And then this is I guess the main piece of the snowmaking system. This was I guess what drove the pump system. So this is the motor here, which is a really big looking diesel motor. And I'm guessing this is the fuel tank. It looks like a fuel tank, but I guess that must have been diesel fuel. And all the electrical has been pulled out. I thought these looked like plug fuses, but I don't think that's what those were. And some pretty industrial looking electrical hookups in here. And that just looks like snowmaking hose that's all coiled up. So yeah, for a small ski area, they had a pretty substantial looking snowmaking system. And this is the snowmaking pond down here. The only other mountain that I've been to where the snowmaking system was still intact and I could actually look at it. It wasn't inside of something that was locked up or all the components had been removed, was Bell Mountain in New Jersey. And that's a similar size. It's actually a little bit bigger than this. And the pump system for that was a lot smaller. Now, Apple Hill had a booster pump on the hill that was similar to that. So maybe for the early 60s, that was just sort of the size of the engine that was needed for running the snowmaking system. I don't know. Again, if you're more familiar with these things, I'd love to learn more. Right, so this is the bottom of the rope tow for the beginner area. You can see the sheave wheels on the pole there. And this is looking up. So you can see the inn there at the top of the hill. And there's still a restaurant that actually operates out of the inn. I think the rest of the building has been cut up into apartments though. And then this is the top of the hill. This was the top of the rope tow. So this was the drive for the rope tow. And they have quite a lot of sheave wheels up there on that pole. And then I walked around the side and I found that the door was open. And we can look at the drive. And that's the wheel would have gone around the tires there. And everything's still pretty much in place. This is an interesting area, even though it closed in the early 80s. Oh, and this was the best part. Someone had saved these old snow guns. I have not seen this before at any lost area, so this is pretty unique. These are really old, like 60s tripod snow guns. You can see the hookup for the water in the air, and the hose is right there. And that's what they would have used to cover the hill here with snow back in the day. It was very basic, it was very primitive, but it got the job done well enough to make snow here in Maryland for 20 some odd years. And people came out, and this is where they learned how to ski. So yeah, that's it. That's Braddock Heights Ski Ways in Maryland. This is the third state I've gotten to in the Lost Ski Area series. If you like this, if you remember anything about the ski area, leave a comment below and like this video. Your support means a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.